Okay, so it is the um, day after Lammas or Lunasa, and so tonight we have an activity that is related to the first harvest. And I'm going to plug in the mic, and here we go. Okay, righty. So we have a new friend. So we can go ahead and do introductions. We've already met. My name is Mary. I'm Rachel.
Meet you. I'm Nicole.
Okay, all right. Yay.
I don't know my full name. You guys hear I prefer they them pronouns.
Say it again.
I prefer they them pronouns. I forgot
Okay.
to say that the last
Okay.
meeting, and it just was like,
Okay.
you should probably.
Yes, that is good because if you don't know, you know what I mean? Like then you're like, what do I say?
Right, yeah.
What is it? You know what I mean? You just feel like, I don't know what to say. Okay. Alrighty. So a little background. So yesterday is the 1st of August is the holiday called, depending on the, because you got the Celtic and the Norse, same holiday, different names. It's almost like tomato, Lammas, or Lunasa. Is anybody familiar with those?
No.
Okay, that's okay. So, so for the wheel of the year, we have 4 days of the year that are, because these are all going to be solar holidays. However, there's the 2 solstices, midwinter and midsummer. And then you have the 2 equinoxes, the spring and the fall. And then, so that's 4 out of the 8. And then we have 4 other holidays throughout the year. So essentially every 6 weeks you get a holiday. Yeah, it's great. Every 6 weeks you get to have a party. So if we start at midwinter when the sun comes back, so it's the shortest day of the year but longest night, and then every day you get 2 more minutes of sunlight, and it grows and grows and grows. You don't really notice it until 6 weeks later, and so February 2nd, which in the States we think of Groundhog Day, but one of the names for it from the old world is Imbolc, and so that would be when there's the first shoots of plants coming out of the earth or even out of the snow, which makes really pretty pictures. Yeah, like you'll see some pictures of flowers in like surrounded by snow. So then another 6 weeks go by, and then you have the spring equinox. Another 6 weeks go by, and then we've got most people call it Beltane. That's May 1st. Another 6 weeks go by. You have the midsummer solstice. Now we start losing 2 minutes of sunlight every day. I know, and you don't notice it right away until 6 weeks later, and you have Lammas. So here we are at Lammas or Lunasa. So Lammas, that comes from loaf mass like Christmas. Yeah. So Lammas or Lunasa is the first harvest. I have notes so I don't forget to tell you things. Okay. So it's the first harvest, and the very first grains are harvested depending where you're at and how many harvests you can get in a year. Like in the South, they can get, like when it comes to certain crops, they can get like 2 or 3, but up here we usually only get about 1 when it comes to certain like not hay. Yeah, hay. Yeah. So it's the first out of 3 harvests. So the next one we're going to have is the fall equinox, and the final one is what we call Halloween. here in the States. But it's the old name for it is Samhain. And then the day after, Day of the Dead, right? So, and I feel it, and if you do a little history, a lot of the things that were done for Samhain by the Celts were also done for Day of the Dead. And it's really interesting because there was no cell phones, there was no email. How did these people like have the same practices, right? There's no way that they like, yeah, you should do this, you should do that. No. So it's really cool. Like if you look at these ancient cultures from around the globe, having like very similar ideas and practices. Okay, I went off on a tangent. So Lunasa, that's the Celtic name for the holiday. Lu is a god who has a spear. And then Lunasa, and the way it's spelled, it's Gaelic. And if you know anything about Gaelic, it's a little cray-cray. They throw in a whole bunch of letters that don't need to be there.
No sound. Just a whole bunch of letters.
Yeah.
It's like French.
It is. I've said that about French, and somebody got uppity with me, like, I'm like, no, there's a lot of extra letters in French that really are unnecessary. Couldn't we save a lot of time by just getting rid of those? Anyway, another tangent. So games of Lou. So when you have a party, there's drinking and dancing and horse racing and fighting. And so I think by games, it's more like, oh, I can throw this farther than you kind of thing. You know what I mean? So by games, you would have like races or competitions. Thank you. I'm like, what is this word I'm looking for? And then also first fruits. So if you were to go if you have raspberries, this is a perfect time for them, if they haven't already started to be good for picking, you know. So so if you don't want to celebrate by eating bread, you can bake a pie or buy a pie. That's easier. And a lot of times, and especially with the Celts, celebrations would be on top of a hilltop, or even pilgrimages to a holy well. And we think of wells like the thing made out of stone that has a roof, but wells were like springs, you know, like where water came out of Mother Earth. And so people would they would give an offering to the spirit of that well, and in return ask for something. And they would either dress up, like dress the well, as opposed in the sense of like leave flowers, kind of like you decorate a Christmas tree, so you can decorate the area. And then they would put their wishes in a ribbon and tie it to like a branch. Just be careful if you do want to do something like that. Be careful what kind of flowers. Like even if you leave real flowers, unfortunately they're sprayed with chemicals and dyes. So it's probably better if you leave like bird seed or something like that an animal can actually like eat. So yes, yeah, if you, yes, yeah.
The abundance of wildflowers
Yes.
that are everywhere right now.
And then the reason people do that is because it was believed that was when these healing wells were at the peak of their power. Yeah. And then there would also be like marriages, so all sorts of festivities, just being thankful that, okay, we have things to eat, because the whole thing, you know, in ancient cultures around the globe is, do you have enough food to get you through the winter? You know, and so that's why people would celebrate. So, any questions about the holiday? Okay.
It makes sense. I mean, everything is like you're picking everything right
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
now. Like there's like
Cherries are done.
Yeah, well.
Thank God.
Let's not worry about cherries around here. I'm over cherries.
Me too. I had
No.
Oh,
But yeah, there's like, the farmer's market was at its peak this past weekend. That was like the biggest amount of fruit and vegetables that had been at the market.
oh,
The
yeah,
entire summer.
yeah. All right, so our activity for tonight is centered on Holy Wells because, oh, did I not? Okay, whoopsie. The earth sign thought she was prepared. So there is, here it is. Okay, so August 2nd, today's August 2nd. So this is Saint Sidwell's Day. And you'll notice a lot of these ancient pagan holidays got turned like, or gods and goddesses. So you have Saint Bridget, Saint so-and-so, right? Why do you make this face?
I hate the Catholic Church.
Okay.
It's just the state, and I'm just like
Okay.
yeah.
But on the upside, these gods and goddesses were completely forgotten. So there is
the
that.
plus. That is the silver lining. It's just the saint part makes me want to
Yeah.
do some arson.
Okay, I'd like to remind you not to say certain things on camera. All right. So this is the day that commemorates a supposed saint who had a chapel and a well dedicated to her. So Sidwell, I don't know what kind of name that is. And yada yada and yada yada yada. So Sid is supposed to come from the word scythe, like cutting, which makes sense because you cut grain, and then well, So I thought, how perfect, today's the 2nd, because out of the bazillion things that we could do today, I had to pick one. You know what I mean? And that's, I didn't want to do eeny, meeny, miny, mo. So I do have ribbon, and I haven't cut it up yet because I didn't know how many people were gonna be here. So we are going to be able to make some wishes. And the ribbon, the thing about ribbon is because back in the day, you would make ribbon from like an old garment that you couldn't fix anymore. And you would just you would make washcloths out of that. And so when it was down to basically just the strip, then you could make a wish with that and put it on a tree branch nice and loosely so it didn't hurt the tree. And then it would disintegrate over time. And it didn't hurt anything because even if it was dyed with something like onion peel or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something natural. So it wasn't going to hurt Mother Nature. So we do have ribbon. So if you choose to tie it outside, just be conscious of how and where you tie it. But you don't have to. So you could even just tie it somewhere where it can catch the wind. Because back in the day, when they would be on hilltop where it was very windy, you could send your intentions to the wind. Wind is secret, I'm going to just say every ancient culture. You know what I mean? So a little bit about wells, because this goes back to the whole idea of making a pilgrimage to the well and giving offerings. So water and wells, and a lot of the gatherings moved from earlier in the year to the late July, early August. And then, there's a bazillion wells in Britain and, the UK. And so most of them are going to be named after Saint so-and-so. You know what I mean? Just because they just got renamed from the original god or goddess, usually a goddess when it comes to water. because that's associated with the, the underworld and Mother Earth, Mother Nature, all that. And so then they became wishing wells. So if you've ever as a kid, I don't think there's any like wishing wells anymore. But if you ever as a kid went to the mall and there was a wishing well, right? At least there was here 100 years ago. And it was the greatest thing, like, oh, do you have a penny? And you'd make a wish and you throw the penny in there. And you just did it. You didn't know why, you just did it. Well, that's where this comes from, is people leaving an offering of some kind. And if somebody had enough money to leave a coin, then that's great. So they would like either do the strips of cloth or throw something into the well, which makes you wonder, like, okay, did they boil the water? Because the different things that people would throw into the well, and did you really want to drink that? All right, and so dawn is the like preferred time to do this, but if you're like me, dawn is not the preferred time to do anything. So you do whatever time you want to do. If you even have like a well or some sort of water source that you want to go to. Or a spring, it's a, but you could go to a water, you could go to a water source if you want to be as close to tradition as possible. So some wells were called rag wells because of this practice. So you would just tie it to an overhanging tree or bush. And so a lot of times people would ask for this bad thing, like an illness, to go away. And the idea was as the piece of rag would disintegrate and become nothing, then so too would that problem. It would just, disintegrate away. Okay. All right. And if you wanted to leave something like flowers or something, just be conscious of what kind and all that. All right. Okay. So. Yeah.
Like that really, she offered Guy on and not knowing they were Hera's flower.
Well, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Your intent was pure.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm gonna use a reference that you probably don't know. Xena Warrior Princess. Yes, you do know Xena Warrior Princess. Okay. All right. So on Xena, well, no, maybe it was more Hercules. Yes, I'm mixing
Either or.
Hercules. So Hera was this meanie, and she would strike people down, and which on Hercules, and so. And I get it, like people a bazillion years ago needed these stories, you know what I mean? But stories were written by men and they made the female gods look bad. And it doesn't help when it's in TV shows. The good news is yes, more people found out about these gods. But if all your information comes from these TV shows, you're not, getting the full story. So your intent was pure. You meant no harm. And you know what? If my favorite flower is this and you gave me something else and you meant it with all your heart, I would love those flowers. So I'm going to go ahead and say you're okay.
When we did that.
Hera looked cranky to her.
She looked.
Oh. Well, I will
It
say
that you just didn't notice her and you had to be kind of pointed out.
That too.
I will say, if you are, let's say you're calling for the help from like a Greek goddess or god, you know what I mean? Then it's good to be like, if let's say you're gonna play music, it's good to not play like Celtic music. Do you know what I mean? Just to play it safe. You know what I mean? Because if they are a little touchy, they're gonna have good days and bad days, just like us. right?
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, like if you are gonna call upon Gaia or Hera, because those are still, you know, the Greco-Roman, you know, do research, but don't feel like you have to do everything that somebody says in a book, because a lot of times you'll learn more, like in a meditation, from that if you go to the source.
Yep.
If I, instead of asking, like instead of doing a research, what is Rachel like? You know what I mean? What do you like? What is your favorite color?
Right.
I
don't even know.
You know, okay, okay, right? So, no, I feel like you probably did.
I tried.
Major rabbit hole right there. Anyways.
All right, so we have ribbon. And I want you to be able to tie something if you decide to do that. Okay, you, and volunteer you.
Okay.
You're just gonna hold the end, just so I can tie this. So while or cut it. I wasn't sure how much, how much I needed. This is what I had at home. Oh yeah, because I decided last night, like, okay, I have to pick an activity for us. I have to pick one. Okay, these are awful scissors. All right, next time.
That's why my mom always separate scissors.
Yeah,
Fabric scissors,
fabric scissors.
ribbon
Do
scissors.
not touch the fabric scissors.
Oh yeah. Okay, this is not.
Are you cutting paper with my fabric scissors?
Here we go.
Oh, Mom.
Oh my.
I was
Okay.
like, drop it. She goes, I don't know. No. She goes,
That's
sorry.
funny.
Like, and then your roses, but I'm telling you,
Okay.
give it a little.
Oh my goodness.
Great
Thank
job.
you.
Give-
Okay.
give us
Thank you.
attention.
Awesome. All right. Beautiful. Okay. So, does anybody have any? Just smack her hand.
Yeah, this is our friendship that I Yeah.
Any, oh, sorry. Any questions or anything you want to share? Any? Oops, sorry. I just got fuzzies on you.
I've been
Okay.
working in an attic all day. I've got sawdust all over me too. I don't
Okay.
mind.
Yay.
Sounds like my life.
It was the only place that we had to set up my workshop.
Oh, but that's one more step in the right
Mhm.
direction. So awesome for you. And so you're gonna start making your
Plates.
plate.
Yeah, start painting my plates once it's cleaned up. It's got like 3 generations worth of quarters stuff up there.
Oh,
so-
I'm.
It's also
oh
a
my.
treasure hunt then.
It
You
is,
never know what you're
yeah.
gonna find.
Yeah.
Never know what you're gonna
Okay. You get a ribbon,
Thank you.
and you get a ribbon, and you get a ribbon,
find. Thank you.
and you get a ribbon.
I don't
Okay.
know what I was gonna say.
Okay. So you may pick if you want to bring, like, because it's a wish or wishes plural. You can have as many wishes as you want. You may pick to bring things to you, or if you want things to release. Yeah, so if you want to ask for what's called a boon, where you're asking for something to be granted to you. And when you do ask universe, hey, I would like fill in the blank. It's a really good idea to not get caught up on how it will be brought to you. Because the universe can come up with a really ingenious way to get it to you. And if you're bringing something to you, you can be as specific as you want to be. But if that thing does not exist yet, then it will have to be manufactured. What I mean by that is, like, if you're like, well, I want a house with this and this and this and this, Or if you say, well, I want a house that has 5 bedrooms and a fountain and a tennis court and a 6-car garage, and you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying it's bad to want things. I'm just saying like the more like specific it is, if it doesn't already exist, then your angels are like, oh my, okay. All right. Do we have any builder angels? All right. So I'm not saying it's bad to be specific, but and then also if you have an idea in your head, I let's say you want a car and you're like, well, I would like like because we have some nasty winters here. So if you're like, well, I want a car that has 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive or whatever, you know what I mean? And then you can also say to the universe, this or something better. So I'm not saying not to ask for a particular make or model or color. But if you're not married to a particular color and you're just and you're open, the universe might be like, oh, well, we have something amazing for you. Right? So I'm not trying, hopefully this isn't coming out as complicated. But I'm just saying like little things to think about when you're asking for something to come to you. And when you're releasing, it can be tricky if you're releasing something consciously, you know, some like this thing, this person, this situation, whatever it is, not good for me. I want it gone. But on some very deep, way down in the murky depths level, there's a part of you that's scared to let that thing go. Right? If it's all you've known for a very long time, there's a part of you that's like, but this is all we know. And change is scary. And I don't want to make you scared. Because there's a part of your brain that's all about keeping you safe. And it goes back to when we were Neanderthals. Like there's a reason that people are afraid of high places, because you could fall down and if you broke your legs, well, a saber-toothed tiger would come and eat you. You know what I mean? Like the rest of your clan would just have to leave you there. So there is a deep-seated reason for a lot of our fears today. So there's a part of your brain that's all about protecting you and keeping you safe. So whatever you're asking for, whether you're asking for something to come or asking for something to go, keep in mind ask yourself and ask the universe, what can I do today that is super simple to help make this happen? You know, because we humans really like to complicate things a lot. And so if you ask a simple thing that I can do, it could be a teeny little thing, it could be one step. It could be you're one step closer to making your dream happen. Right? So and then it's called acting in accord, where instead of just asking, like, let's say you ask for your soulmate, but then you never leave your house. Yeah. Or if you're, you know, if you're in a situation where you have to work all the time and you really want that soulmate, but you can never get out in the world because you're always, you know what I mean? So if you really want your soulmate, but you're in a bad job where you're stuck working all the time, first it's probably better to get a better job, so you actually have time to go find your soulmate. Yeah. So, and does anybody have any questions or comments or anything that they want to share? You guys are all very quiet. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Okay. So, and these really raggedy, because those are awful scissors.
That's what it's supposed to be, right? But you
I
should
know,
just
yes.
rag.
Yes, it is
Strips of
raggedy on
rags.
purpose. And then people at home that watching the replay or wherever you're watching the replay, if you don't have cloth of some kind, if you don't have, I mean, you can find ribbon fairly easily, especially if you go to Dollar Tree, I feel. or any fabric that you might just have, like an old,
Old shirt
like
or
an old
something.
shirt that still, you could still wear it, but it's covered in spaghetti stains. Cause that's my superpower, is being able to get spaghetti stains on me. Right, you can use something like that, cause that would be true to the original way of doing it. Okay, so does everybody need time to think about what you want to ask us for? Oh, okay. So you want to write it on your ribbon,
Oh,
or?
we just, that's how I said.
Oh, sure. No, okay. All right.
And
Marker.
Oh,
Put
yeah, I
over
can
it,
go
so
get,
you
I
can
can go get
chat.
pens. You want pen and paper? Because the idea was to put it into the ribbon, but writing it down is awesome because it's getting it out of your body and onto something tangible, or not out of your mind, out of your mind. Because
What
you
I talk to
can,
myself all the time. Because it needs to come out. I
Yeah.
don't need to stay in there. It needs to come out. So I just talk to myself.
yeah. So you want scrap paper or?
I would write.
No, that's awesome. Does anybody else want to do that? Because I can go get, yeah, we're good.
I'm good.
Okay, okay,
Good.
yeah. All right, so you can pick how you want to put your intention into your ribbon. If you want to blow it into your ribbon, kind of like when you blow out your candles up for your birthday cake, or if you want to just hold it. There's not going to be the one right way for everyone, right? So whatever you feel guided to do is perfectly okay. And again, you don't have to just pick one thing. Don't pick like 47 because you don't want to be like too scattered. Keep it to a handful, I would say. You know what I mean? Everybody's got their intention. Okay, awesome. So we are going to, we're going to use the power of chanting to raise power to it, because we have this idea in our mind, right? So now we need to charge, but essentially we're making a talisman, if you think about it. So how I remembered when I was first learning the difference between amulet and talisman is talisman has man at the end, so it's like man-made, right? So any little charm that you make, whether it's made, like it can be intricate or it can be simple, you know, it could be twigs tied together with twine or something, you know what I mean? So we're essentially making a talisman, but we want to charge it. It's just simply because we have our intent and we have it firmly in our minds, and we're gonna raise that energy and then send that energy out to the universe. So I wrote this tonight. And I'll say it, and then everyone can repeat it. Yeah. Okay. Unless you want me to make copies. 'Cause I did not. No. Yeah. No, okay. Okay. All right. And then so the thing about raising power is we'll just keep going, kind of like when we were doing the mantras. We'll just keep going until we all kind of feel like, yeah, we're good, you know. And that's the thing about working in a group. It helps raise, because we're all contributing. Yeah. So I'll say it, and then you'll just say it after me, and we'll just keep going. Ready? Okay, so hold that thought in your mind. Everybody got it? And if you need to, you can close your eyes the whole time, if that helps. All right, here we go. The power of wind, the air blows free.
Power of the wind, the air blows free.
The power of intent held by me.
Power of intent held by me.
All these wishes I set free.
All these wishes I set free.
As my will, so mote it be.
As my will, so mote it be.
The power of the wind, the air blows free.
Power of the wind, the air blows free.
The power of intent held by me.
Power of intent held by me.
All these wishes I set free.
All these wishes I set free.
As my will, so mote it be.
As my will, so mote it be.
The power of the wind, the air blows free.
Power of the wind, the air blows free.
The power of intent held by me.
Power of intent held by me.
All these wishes I set free.
All these wishes I set free.
As my will, so mote it be.
As my will, so mote it be.
The power of a wind, the air blows free.
Power of the wind, the air blows free.
The power of intent held by me.
Power of intent held by me.
All these wishes I set free.
All these wishes I set free.
As my will, so mote it be.
As my will, so mote it be.
The power of wind, the air blows free.
Power of wind, the air blows free.
The power of intent held by me.
Power of intent held by me.
All these wishes I set free.
All these wishes I set free.
As my will, so mote it be.
As my will, so mote it be.
The power of the wind, the air blows free.
The power of the wind, the air blows free.
The power of intent held by me.
Power of intent held by me.
All these wishes I set free.
All these wishes I set free.
As my will, so mote it be.
As my will, so mote it be.
Get loud. The power of wind, the air blows free.
The power of wind,
Yes.
the air blows free.
The power of intent held by me.
The power of intent held by me.
All these wishes I set free.
All these wishes I set free.
As my will, so mote it be.
As my will, so mote it be.
Two more. The power of the wind, the air blows free.
Power of the wind, the air blows free.
The power of intent held by me.
Power of intent held by me.
All these wishes I set free.
All these wishes I set free.
As my will, so mote it be.
As my will, so mote it be.
The power of the wind, the air blows free.
The power of the wind, the air blows free.
The power of intent held by me.
Power of intent held by me.
All these wishes I set free.
All these wishes I set free.
As my will, so mote it be.
As my will, so mote it be.
And I also like to add at the end of a spell, for the good of all and with harm to none, so say I, so shall it be done by the power of 3 times 3, as I will it, so mote it be. And so that way you're not hurting anyone in any way. How does everybody feel?
Good.
Kind of.
Yeah, I usually get dizzy after that. There's like a power rush, kind of like sends you off. It's like-
I'm not as dizzy as you were at the park. No, I
White stuff. Like, hi, hi, here. Just happened to turn around.
oh, I did not notice.
Yeah.
So did anybody want to share? I don't want everybody to feel put on the spot, but okay. But hasn't there been a lot of progress, especially in the last
There has been.
handful of years?
It's less the surgical procedure itself that I'm scared of. I'm scared of the recovery process.
Uh-huh.
And I'm really scared of the getting to the surgical process.
Okay.
Especially as someone who doesn't want a full sex reassignment. It's really, really, really hard to prove to providers, any provider, insurance, medical, mental, that you are trans, that this is what you want,
Mhm.
that you're 100% or you thought about this,
Mhm.
that it will medically help me feel better
Mhm.
about myself as a person and about my body and about my existence.
Mhm.
That it's a daunting task.
Yeah.
I've started the process, but it takes forever and I'm still terrified of it.
Yeah.
And I just don't want that feeling.
But isn't it, I mean, I only know from what I've seen on I Am Jazz, so I have very limited knowledge base, but at least on that show, the bottom surgery was like even like there was so much more involved, like talking to particular doctors to get them to sign up to say yes, I say that this person is ready.
As
So-
of right now, the therapist I'm talking to might not have the power to give me a diagnosis that will allow my insurance company to fully cover the operation,
Okay.
which is a huge hurdle. At a
How do
lot
you
of-
find out if this person, if they're, if they're,
You got a lot of insurance companies require a specific diagnosis from a specific medical professional. Mine requires a gender dysphoria diagnosis. They weren't clear on whether it was from a radiotherapist or a licensed psychologist or psychiatrist.
oh,
So as of right now, I can get a diagnosis from my primary care, my current therapist, but it
Mhm.
might not be the diagnosis that the insurance needs.
mhm.
And I don't know until I present it to them.
Oh, that's not helpful.
unless, yeah, because I mean, I've called the company itself twice and they can't give me a straight. It's just like gender dysphoria. The diagnosis of gender dysphoria. I'm like, but from whom?
Mhm.
They're not gonna tell you that they don't want to pay for it.
Yeah, I get that. I feel that. I didn't want to discourage you by saying that, but
Yeah, the thing that I'm most scared of is the recovery process. It is a major surgery. And the recovery can take anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks. It requires drain tubes
oh,
that require, you can't really do anything physical
oh
until you're
my,
completely healed.
wow,
So you have to have
okay,
someone there that you trust who's willing to be there 24/7 to literally do everything for you. You can't go into direct water to shower when you still
Oh.
have your,
oh,
when
yeah,
they're still healing. Like
Mhm.
there's so much that goes into the process that could go wrong in the
Yes,
process
yeah.
that it's just a nightmare. And
Just remember, when you're thinking about the fear aspect of that this is something that they've done for years. Both my mother and my sister-in-law have had reductions. So it's like not completely
That's
the
what I was
same, but
wondering.
it's
Isn't it
super,
isn't it similar to
it's
that?
super similar, but the recovery for you is gonna be a little bit more, 'cause you're taking like
everything.
everything.
Yeah.
And like, right, so it's gonna be a little bit more, but they've done it. And there's some really good doctors. When you're thinking about the fear aspect of that, just remember, hey, okay, fear is telling me this, but reality, they know what they're doing. They're good. There's some good doctors,
Mhm,
and they
mhm.
do it. So
I have
don't
a
let.
little bit of medical trauma. that
So
I've
that
added
makes
to
sense.
this,
That makes
Oh
sense.
my, okay.
where the doctors didn't do the things that would make me not be in pain. Daisy was there for it when I cut my finger at work, and the nurses were absolutely useless. And yeah, she did the nurse work for me because the nurse walked out of the room because I was swearing too much because I was in
Wow.
pain because I chopped off part of my fingertip.
Right,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
It's like
No, that's you were.
I've had cut open the side of my eye and it was glued together wrong.
Ooh,
Um,
ee.
It's just that it's
Okay.
like there's so much stuff that's
Yeah.
not in my control when I go into this situation.
Mhm.
I'm putting a lot of trust and vulnerability into other people's hands that I don't like to let go.
Mhm.
Oh no.
So
Mhm.
it's just
You're not alone there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I know that I need to do this. I've been putting it off for 5 years, and I'm just scared. That's the only reason why I've been putting it off.
Mhm.
Healthy fear. There's not. It's not. That's not worth it. You just have to like remember that fear will ruin everything. Yes. Fear of it.
For me, it's mostly just help from my family,
Oh.
especially since mom had a kidney design move. She had kidney cancer.
Oh.
So for me, it's basically just help my family.
Mine was a personal attack for once. Like usually my intentions are for everybody else, but mine was a little more personal this time. So take it from there.
You're like, it's me time.
Yeah, it's me time. It's time for me to take care of myself.
I actually did not have an intent until I closed my eyes and I was just open to, okay, what's the best thing for me right now? And, it's funny how this came together because this Q&A discussion group came about because people coming in, because there was Emily, Victoria, and Sarah, and asking, well, which book should I get? Da, 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 da. And I had noticed, there's so many people looking for answers, not knowing what the questions are, and so I'm like, okay, let's put this together. And then we decided like the third night we met, Kathy's like, so what do you want from this? Which I was like, okay, because Kathy's usually not Well, okay, so I shouldn't say that. She does get to the point. She does get to the point.
It's in my Reiki, I know.
Oh, that's funny. So, but I didn't expect her to say that like that far in. Like we only had 2 of these chats, you know what I mean? So then we decided, okay, yes, we do want this to be a class. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And then I was like, ooh, yeah, this is gonna, because I can't speak for every Capricorn, but this Capricorn does everything this big, right? Like we're gonna have a class, and I'm gonna teach you everything that I've learned. Well, maybe not all at once, but I'm gonna teach you a lot. I'm gonna teach you a lot. I'm like, okay, I've been getting ready for it. And so that's why I've been neglecting our Facebook group because so long story short is I closed my eyes and I was like, okay, what's the best thing for me right now to bring to me? And years ago in a dream, I had this dream. I was driving home and there were these people lined up on the side of the road, and I'm like, who are these people? What are they doing? So I pull onto the next road and there's all these people lined up. Where's this going? And I pull onto my road and there's all these people lined up. I pull into my driveway and all these people lined up right to my door. And there was and above my house was a pentacle. And I was like, okay, what is this about? All these years later, now I know. These are the people. Yeah,
coming
these
for
are the
you.
people. But at the time, like I don't know these people. I've never seen these people before in my life, right? Like I have no idea who any of these people are. But now in this modern day where yes, we're gonna have class here, but it's also gonna be recorded and everything. I can help a bunch of people.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
A bunch of people.
I can help a bunch of people. And that's yeah, that's so my heart's desire is to help as many people as I possibly can. And so that's my intent is to, okay, I don't know any of these people, but they're gonna find me.
And they will.
Yes, look for the spinning pentacle in the air.
Sure, and sick. Just
Yeah,
in
like the
air,
bat
like-
signal. Yeah.
Various.
No dark mark, just a spinning.
Right. This is where she. We have to find a graphic designer to do that. It could be like Facebook page where it's like.
Yeah.
Right.
Just need a GIF,
Yeah.
Yeah.
an unending GIF, so you can make it like a profile video.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah.
Bring ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Give this to us for free, so might as well give you our ideas. Yeah.
I know a guy.
Okay.
I just download the GIMP software because it's free and downloadable. It's supposed to Photoshop.
When it comes to, I can text and I can use Facebook and Facebook Messenger. That's about as technical as
Oh,
you're gonna get with me.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I get Instagram and stuff like that, but I don't.
So this is not the circle to geek out about the new mic I just got.
Oh, you got mine.
see.
I got a lot, I got a
Oh, awesome.
I'm gonna use the fancy terms because I'm gonna school do it, but I got a little lavalier mic.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what this is technically. This is a lavalier.
It doesn't have a little pad on the end of it. The wind buffer basically is
Oh,
what they are. They're
yeah.
just to help with
Yeah.
when you speak, some letters and the way that we enunciate them come across with a greater wind force. And that's what those little pads are to
Yes.
do, is to help protect
Yes.
your mic from being hard.
Yes.
Every
Yeah.
time you make a word, they gotta come out of your mouth. Speak, that's the word that.
Yeah.
Although that's not true because me and the girls want to start our own podcast, so we kind of need mics.
I got this little lavalier mic on Amazon. I saw it as cheap as $8.
Yeah, this
They're-
one I got an extra long cord, so it was more than that. But if you get like you're just gonna be right next to
They
your,
just plug it into
Your-
your phone,
yeah.
whatever.
You don't need
it's
that extra long
perfect.
one.
A lot of people want to TikTok now. Like the little tiny mics that you see them holding up.
Yeah.
There's no need to do that except if you're doing ASMR. Because the way that they're designed is it's designed to pick up sound all the way
Oh,
around the whole room. So, huh? People don't think about that. I mean, the little package I got didn't even have the chart that all mic packages were supposed to have telling you the polar pattern. So like
Mm.
even the manufacturers don't.
It's because they're just mass produced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, fine. Yeah. It's meant to be used for like, interviews, podcasts, video making like TikTok, or these types of meetings. So
Yeah, because if you just use the mic
education's
on
paying
your,
itself off.
if you use the mic just on your device, it doesn't really pick everything up well. Yeah.
Right. You need like.
So,
On the side. So
yay.
you got some education in other than some of the scrappy and money. You know a little more about tech.
Yeah. Hey man, give me an Excel spreadsheet or a Word document and I'm all over it. But when it comes to hooking up mics, stuff like that, like it's on my phone.
Yep.
Yeah, I had to, because of teaching belly dance, I had to figure out, because at first during lockdown, we thought, oh, it'll be a few weeks.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what
I
everybody
remember
thought.
that.
Yeah.
It's only 2 weeks.
So I was like, okay, I'll keep our class going, on Zoom. And then what's awesome is now, I record every class. And whereas before Zoom, like if you were gonna have a dance instruction video, you'd have to get a videographer and then an editor, you know what I mean? Like all this extra stuff.
Now you
And if
just need-
yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it's not as fancy. It doesn't
When I
have
recorded covers, I just had to like have my phone doing the recording and my computer up so I could hear what I was doing, and I was
yeah.
just like right there.
yeah.
Thanks, and Zoom.
Zoom.
Things can't have spring.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, with the technology aspect of it,
Well, I can tell you what I've learned so far. You know what I mean? Because I'm just using a tablet. I'm not like
I
using
have a couple
a
of those,
fancy
so-
camera. Like you can get as fancy as you want.
Right.
It's not.
We don't even want to record like video. We just
You can okay, so we're getting off topic.
want
Okay. But you can on Zoom, you do have the option, like I have the option of when I download the video of downloading audio only. And then you upload that to wherever.
Okay.
I found
It
that
makes
about,
editing so much nicer.
Yeah.
If you're only wanting the audio, but you like need to edit the audio, having the video there so you know where you like visuals where you are in the conversation is so much easier.
but
You don't need to keep the video.
Yeah,
You can delete
yeah.
that later.
yeah.
Just hold on to those for like later once the
Mhm.
podcast wants to be like, oh yeah, you want to
Clippers.
remember the live session? Here you
Yeah.
go. This is what we were actually
That's what
doing.
Critical Role basically did. It's a D&D podcast that has exploded across the It's a huge internet phenomenon. But it's a bunch of voice actors who took their home tabletop D&D game and they brought it. It got podcasted first, and the YouTube videos that they have from their first campaign are shit quality. Like they're from a little tiny phone that was propped up on a table. You can't see the whole cast anymore. You
Right.
can just hear them. So it was one of those videos that they took. They were really getting the video because they needed the audio.
Yeah.
And so they put the video up on YouTube because it's got the audio and we got the video so you can follow along.
Right.
And then once they got a little along with funding and an audience, they were able to upgrade to nice individual cameras and mics and like have a whole studio.
Right.
Yeah.
But it can start off as that little.
So the moral of the story is just start your podcast.
And
Start the
Don't wait.
project.
I have to have everything perfect,
Yeah,
and then I have to have these stories, right? You know what I mean? Like, but the point of the story is, get started. You can always grow.
Right.
2 weeks now.
Okay,
Shut up.
so we got way off topic. So anything you like Thomas and eating bread and.
So you said Lammas, not the Celtic?
That's the North.
That's the
Yeah.
Nordic
Yeah.
version?
Mhm.
The Celtic version was
Lunasa.
Lunasa, but it's got a million different characters.
Okay, so LUGH
Oh God, yeah.
NASADH.
Wow.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
else left extra stuff.
Yeah. That's what I said. And then there's the Gaelic word. So a lot of people just say llamas. And with 2 M's. So
So not like the
Not
animal,
like-
like you were explaining
not
to
like
me.
llamas. Not like multiple llamas running around.
Yeah,
Close, it's close. So instead of llamas, llamas.
Gotcha. That's a lot easier.
Trying to explain, I'm like, not double L,
No, it's
A, M,
not
A,
a
S,
double L, it's
M,
double
A,
L.
M, A.
Oh, and what's funny is we have an instance out there. So there's the English, and then if you flip over the box, there's the Spanish, right?
Oh, boy.
And so it's call money. And then if you flip it over, it's I read it as llama dinero. Please don't laugh. But it's double L. But that's how you spell llama with 2 L's. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm
the
like,
animal.
what? What? And then I had that because double L is a yacht, right? And then I was like, oh yeah, okay. But I looked at it and went, what does this smell like? Llama to-
Going to the fair. Just gonna sit in the llama barn.
I want the money.
And you're like, what are you doing? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Not a little llama.
It's even better because there is a new farm on the point that just added llamas or alpacas to their property. So we're driving down here to come to the meeting and because it's all llamas. I'm like, the llamas we just passed? Like what?
How do we got here?
Not my brightest.
Well.
Been one of those weekends.
Yeah, it really has been. It must be the change in season.
All
It's
right.
definitely cold.
It's well,
Mars, is that what's happening?
I'm from
Yeah.
Ohio, so this here is perfect.
Yeah,
When I
yeah.
left, it was like 95 degrees. and it
Yeah,
couldn't breathe. So
yeah.
once we got to like Fort Wayne, I was
Yeah.
this is where I belong.
For those of us that live here year round, our blood is about as thick as porridge. So when it gets above 80, we're like, I'm gonna die. You know,
My husband is a bigger guy. So he's
Ah,
like, this is
yeah.
my weapon. Like I don't sweat, you know what I mean? I love it. And my
Mhm.
daughter, my youngest daughter is the same way. She doesn't sleep with blankets on.
Ah.
Like she just, you know, just sweats. Like it's terrible.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they love it up here. They're in their glory. when I was
Okay.
I mean, I got the Maui blood still too, but I grew up here, so like I've got that thick blood. I just don't like.
Yeah.
I don't like the cold. Like
Oh,
if
okay.
it 60, anything under 60,
Yeah.
I'm like,
I'm out.
yeah, give
I
me
am
pants and a
miserable if it
t-shirt.
is 60 or below.
Yeah.
Again, I'm so 15. So that cold bothers me all the time.
Yeah.
That's the
I
opposite
have
of
pants
Elsa.
and a sweatshirt on.
Yeah,
I was in
same.
shorts and like a tank top. I'm like, I'm gonna freeze to death. I will freeze to death.
I,
before
you know,
we
I
get
will
home.
say, because I have seen some people walking around like sweater and boots. Like today, there was a gal in sweater and boots, and I'm like,
I'm probably the only one here who
is she
in
from
90
Florida?
degrees weather. I have in the past with 90 degrees and I was cold, so I put jeans and a sweatshirt on. And mom just comes into my room as I'm in the sunlight trying to warm up. What is wrong with you? I'm cold. Hello.
I had on my big, like, thick, long sweater at the market all weekend because it was cold. Like, she was like sitting out there, like, it's sunny out and like 70. And like, and I'm sitting in here in a sweater because I'm cold. Sorry. And I was perfect. Like, I didn't sweat. I wasn't, that was just like perfect temperature. I was like, I'm just chilling.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording because I know I feel like we're just
We're just on.
talking about weather
We're
and
being friends now.
llamas. All right. Nice. Well, whatever time people are watching the replay. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Also, there's this